They told you it was your identity. But what if it was their interference? What if your confusion isn't your fault, but someone's agenda? It's time to break the spell. This is the war on biological truth. What if the truth you've been told was never yours to begin with? What if your confusion was engineered? A silent war is being waged, not on belief, but on biology. Children are being told, you were born in the wrong body. But what if they weren't? What if synthetic hormones, foreign DNA, and chemical interference hijacked the blueprint? What if your identity was altered before you could speak? From vaccines laced with cross-gender DNA, to livestock pumped with artificial estrogen, to plastics leaching endocrine disruptors into your cells, it's not your fault. It's their agenda. I didn't know what I was agreeing to. No one asked about the trauma. I regret the surgery every single day. This isn't political. This isn't hate. This is biological warfare, disguised as care. You were never broken. You were interfered with. Lost in the code, the war on biological truth. We are told to trust the science. We are told to follow the schedule. From the moment a child enters this world, a needle is often waiting. It is presented as the first line of defense, a shield, a necessity for a healthy life. But have we ever stopped to ask the most fundamental question? What exactly is inside that syringe? We are handed pamphlets with reassuring words. We hear doctors repeat phrases they learned in medical school. They tell us these injections are safe. They tell us they're effective. Yet, a growing number of parents, scientists, and doctors are pulling back the curtain. They're looking past the polished marketing and asking what lies beneath. They are questioning the very foundation of this universal medical ritual. This is not a debate about settled science. This is a demand for truth. The official narrative is clean and simple. It speaks of weakened viruses and robust immune responses, but it conveniently omits a more complex and disturbing reality. It fails to mention the biological soup that is often part of the manufacturing process. These are not just simple saline solutions carrying a single antigen. The process is far murkier. It involves ingredients and biological matter that most parents would never knowingly allow near their child. The silence from the institutions that are supposed to protect us is deafening. They dismiss these valid concerns as misinformation. They label legitimate inquiry as dangerous, but the real danger lies in blind obedience. It lies in accepting a medical procedure without full, transparent, and honest disclosure of every single component. Think about the vulnerability of a newborn. A baby's immune system is a blank slate. Its neurological pathways are just beginning to form. Its entire biological system is in a state of delicate, rapid development. This is a sacred period of growth. It is a time when the body is learning to distinguish between self and non-self. Introducing a complex cocktail of foreign substances at this critical juncture is a profound biological event. It is an intervention of immense scale. Why is there no open discussion about the potential for unintended consequences? Why are we rushing to inject complex biological agents into a system that is still learning its own identity? The questions are not radical. They are rational. They are necessary. The conversation has been controlled for too long. It has been shaped by those with vested interests. It has been policed by those who profit from the status quo. But the tide is turning. People are waking up. They are realizing that true health does not come from a one-size-fits-all injection schedule. It comes from informed consent. It comes from understanding exactly what we are allowing into our bodies, and more importantly, into the bodies of our children. The time has come to move beyond the talking points. We must demand a full accounting. We must ask the questions that have been silenced for decades. What is in the needle, and what is it doing to our kids? Let's talk about what the official documents often gloss over. Let's talk about the biological building blocks used to create these products. Many vaccines are grown on what are called cell substrates. These are living cells. They are often derived from animals like monkeys, from chickens, or even from aborted human fetal tissue. During the manufacturing process, fragments of DNA from these host cells can break off. They become contaminants. They end up in the final vial. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a documented fact, acknowledged in the scientific literature and by regulatory agencies themselves. These are fragments of foreign genetic code. They are pieces of a biological blueprint that is not our own. They're being injected directly into our children. The scale of this contamination is staggering. We are talking about billions of DNA fragments in a single dose. These are not inert, meaningless particles. DNA is the code of life. It carries instructions. It tells cells what to become and how to function. The official position is that this fragmented foreign DNA is harmless. They assure us it is too broken up to be of any consequence. But is that a risk we should be taking with our children? Independent scientists have raised alarms, suggesting that these fragments can and do have the potential to integrate into the recipient's own DNA. This is a process called genome insertion. It is a biological trespass of the highest order. It is the rewriting of a sacred text. Imagine your child's body as a pristine, developing organism. Its genetic blueprint is unique, a legacy passed down through generations. Now picture billions of foreign genetic instructions being forced into that delicate system. These are not just any instructions. They come from other species. They come from other humans. What happens when a human cell receives a piece of code from a monkey or a chicken? What happens when it encounters DNA from a cell line that has been artificially kept alive in a lab for decades? The honest answer is, we don't fully know. The long-term studies have not been done. We are in the middle of a massive, uncontrolled experiment, and our children are the test subjects. This is the very definition of a hidden risk. Parents who consent to vaccination believe they are protecting their child from a handful of diseases. They are not told they are also consenting to the injection of residual DNA from animal and human cell lines. They are not informed about the potential for this genetic material to interfere with their child's own biological development. The lack of transparency is a profound betrayal of trust. The potential consequences of this blueprint contamination are immense. We are not just talking about an allergic reaction. We are talking about a permanent alteration of the human genome. We are talking about a fundamental corruption of our biological identity right at the source. Now we must connect the dots. What happens when a developing human, especially a newborn, is inundated with foreign DNA? What happens when this genetic material comes from both male and female sources, as is the case with certain aborted fetal cell lines? The human body is a symphony of hormonal and genetic signals that guide development. This is especially true for the formation of identity, including sexual identity. From the moment of conception, a complex dance of X and Y chromosomes, hormones, and gene expression begins the process of creating a male or a female. This is a precise and delicate biological process. It is the foundation of who we are. It is the core of our physical self. Consider the potential for disruption. When we inject male DNA into a female baby or female DNA into a male baby, what signals are we sending to that developing system? We are introducing a conflicting set of instructions. At a time when the body and brain are wiring themselves to understand their own biological reality, we are introducing static. We are introducing noise. We are introducing a foreign code that whispers a different message. This is no longer a purely psychological or social issue. This could be a molecular interference. It is a biological confusion sown at the cellular level. Could this be the root of the profound identity confusion we see exploding in our youth? This is a blueprint hijack. The original design is being overwritten with corrupted data. The body's innate wisdom, its ability to know itself, is being compromised from day one. The rise in children and teens questioning their fundamental biology is unprecedented. The explosion of gender dysphoria is a modern phenomenon. While society looks for answers in social media trends, peer pressure, or parenting styles, it may be ignoring the elephant in the room. We may be looking at a generation whose biological foundation was scrambled before they could even speak. The confusion may not be starting in their minds. It may be starting in their cells. Their bodies may be struggling with a set of contradictory instructions they were never meant to have. This is not about blaming a child for their confusion. It is about understanding the potential source of that confusion. It is about recognizing that they may be the victims of a profound biological assault. The identity crisis we are witnessing may be a symptom of a deeper iatrogenic injury, an injury caused by medical intervention. The very essence of selfhood, the simple biological truth of being male or female, is being thrown into question. We must have the courage to ask if the tools we were told would protect them are, in fact, contributing to this fundamental fracturing of identity. We must consider the possibility that we have unintentionally programmed a generation for confusion. The problem of foreign DNA does not exist in a vacuum. It's supercharged by another key ingredient found in many vaccines, aluminum. Aluminum is added as an adjuvant. Its job is to provoke a stronger, more aggressive immune response. To put it simply, aluminum is a powerful irritant. It puts the immune system on high alert. It essentially shouts to the body, "Pay attention to this. This is an invader." Attack. It creates a state of intense inflammation at the injection site, ensuring that the immune system launches a full-scale war against the antigens in the vaccine. This is how the product is designed to work. It's an artificial and aggressive stimulation of a natural process. Now consider what this means for the foreign DNA fragments we just discussed. When these billions of genetic contaminants are injected alongside a powerful adjuvant like aluminum, they are not just passively floating by. The aluminum ensures the immune system sees them as part of the threat. It amplifies their significance. The body is tricked into mounting a powerful response, not just to the intended virus or bacteria, but to everything in the syringe, including the fragmented human and animal DNA. This process can, unfortunately, prime the body for a lifetime of autoimmune issues, where it learns to attack itself. The adjuvant acts as a spotlight, highlighting this foreign code and telling the body to react with maximum force. This is a critical mechanism. The aluminum adjuvant essentially gives the foreign DNA a VIP pass into the most reactive parts of our immune system. It can carry these DNA fragments across the blood-brain barrier, delivering them directly into the developing brain of an infant. Think about that for a moment. Foreign genetic code from another species or another human delivered by a powerful neurotoxin directly into the control center of the body. This is not a gentle nudge to the immune system. This is a Trojan horse. It's a delivery system for potentially gene-altering material, amplified by a substance known to cause neurological damage. The combination is a recipe for disaster. The consequences are profound. This isn't just about creating antibodies to measles. This is about forcing the body to react to a cocktail of biological and chemical substances in a way it never would in nature. The aluminum ensures that the foreign DNA is not ignored. It cements the interaction. It may increase the likelihood that these foreign instructions are taken up by the child's own cells, leading to the blueprint hijack we've been talking about. The adjuvant is the key that unlocks the door, allowing the foreign code to do its damage. It is the catalyst that turns a contamination problem into a potential identity crisis written into the very biology of our children. We are witnessing a generation in crisis. The staggering rise in gender dysphoria, anxiety, and autoimmune disorders is not a coincidence. It is a signal. It's a warning from the bodies of our children that something is fundamentally wrong. For too long, we've been told these are purely psychological, social, or cultural issues. But what if they are not? What if they are biological? What if the confusion and illness are the logical outcomes of a systemic medical intervention that introduces foreign blueprints and toxic amplifiers into the most vulnerable among us? This is not about assigning blame. This is about ending the denial. It's about recognizing the catastrophic failure to study the real-world consequences of these programs. This is a conversation about programming. A child is born with an original, pristine biological design, a sacred code. The current medical paradigm, however, has decided it knows better. It has decided to update that programming with its own version, using crude and unpredictable tools. We are injecting code without understanding its full function. We're running a program without knowing if it will corrupt the entire operating system. The identity confusion we see is not a personal failing on the part of the child. It's a potential outcome of this programming. They are the ones living with the consequences of a biological experiment they did not consent to. We owe them the truth. The path forward requires courage. It requires us to demand transparency. We need a full and honest accounting of every single ingredient in these injections. We need independent science, free from industry influence, to investigate the long-term effects of injecting foreign DNA and aluminum into newborns. We need to stop dismissing the concerns of millions of parents as baseless fear. We need to listen to the silent testimony of our children's bodies. The answers are not in more labels, more therapies, or more surgeries to correct what was never broken. The answer is in preventing the biological interference in the first place. The answer is in protecting the sanctity of the human blueprint. Ultimately, we must return to a place of reverence for our natural design. Our biology is not a flaw to be corrected by a syringe. It is a wisdom to be honored. It is time to reclaim our biological integrity. We must acknowledge that the human body, in its undisturbed state, is a miracle of design. We must protect our children from a system that seeks to hijack their blueprints and scramble their identities before they have a chance to know themselves. The truth must come out. Let us stand for biological wholeness. Let us stand for the original code. Let us stand for the children and their right to grow into the people they were always meant to be, uncorrupted and complete. They say gender is fluid, but what if it was made fluid by force? What if the rising tide of identity confusion, infertility, and sexual dysfunction wasn't psychological, but chemical? What if it wasn't coming from inside us, but from what we're eating, drinking, and bathing in? This is not a theory. This is hormonal warfare. In the 1940s, a silent shift began in our food supply. Factory farms turned to synthetic hormones to make animals grow faster. Estrogens were injected into cattle. Chickens were flooded with steroids. Milk was modified with recombinant bovine growth hormone, RBGH. No warning, no consent, just mass ingestion of untested, unnatural hormones. We were told it was harmless, but look around. Children are entering puberty years too early. Boys with breasts, girls with hormone imbalances before they're 10. A generation confused before they've even begun. Now ask, what happens when a child's hormonal development is hijacked by estrogen-mimicking chemicals during their most vulnerable years? The answer is already here. Soy formula fed to millions of infants contains phytoestrogens so strong that a baby fed soy receives the estrogenic equivalent of up to 5 birth control pills a day. Not filtered, not moderated, ingested, absorbed, stored. Now add plastics, water bottles, baby toys, food packaging, bisphenol A, BPA, and its cousins, BPS and phthalates. These xenoestrogens, foreign estrogenic compounds, leak into every cell. They bind to estrogen receptors, sending distorted signals into a developing child's endocrine system. The result? The brain, ovaries, testes, adrenal glands, all forced to rewire around unnatural levels of estrogen-like signals. The body can no longer tell what's real and what's manufactured. Boys become feminized. Girls become androgenized. Hormonal chaos becomes the new normal. Add to that atrazine, the second most commonly used pesticide in America. Studies show that atrazine can chemically castrate male frogs, turning them into functioning females, capable of laying eggs, not over decades, within days. And yet this chemical is found in over 80% of U.S. drinking water. Still think your child's identity is forming naturally? This isn't evolution. This is disruption. Planned, profitable, and nearly invisible. Because it's not just in what they eat, it's in their shampoo, their toothpaste, their deodorant, their baby lotion. It's in their very skin. Parabens, triclosan, phthalates, all known endocrine disruptors, all approved for mass use. The regulatory agencies claim it's safe in small amounts, but no one talks about the cumulative effect. No one studies what happens when a newborn, toddler, and teen are layered with these chemicals for 20 years. What happens is exactly what we're seeing. Rising infertility, confused identity, men with testosterone levels lower than their grandfathers had at age 80, women with estrogen dominance, PCOS, and ovarian failure by 25, children who hate their bodies and think they need to change them to feel whole. But what if the body isn't broken? What if it's just responding to the most sustained hormonal assault in human history? This isn't a gender revolution. This is endocrine demolition, a war on fertility, a war on identity, a war on the very biology that anchors us in who we are. Because when the hormones are confused, the soul can't land. When the signal of man or woman becomes fuzzy, we lose the container for the essence of who we came here to be. We were born in perfect design, male or female, XY or XX, rooted in nature, divinely encoded, powerfully aligned, and yet we've been eating, drinking, and bathing in distortion. We are not evolving into fluidity. We are being chemically feminized. Masculinity is being erased. Femininity is being weaponized. And gender itself is being dismantled, not in the name of liberation, but in the name of control. Because when a population doesn't know who it is, it's easier to program. When children are taught to distrust their own bodies, they become permanent patients. And when families are infertile and confused, they can no longer create a future. This is hormonal warfare, and if we don't see it for what it is, we will continue to call the casualties progress. You were never supposed to hate your body. You were never supposed to lose your way. You were never supposed to be confused, but you were targeted systematically, biologically, silently. This is not evolution. This is the war on biological truth. And it's time to take your body back, to take your children back, to take your future back. There was a time when nature guided our becoming, when we trusted the signals of our bodies, felt the quiet guidance of hormones, and grew into who we were with sacred timing. But today, the signal is scrambled. We are surrounded by messages in the food, in the water, in the air, in the culture that whisper one thing: you are not enough as you are. Your body is wrong. You must change to be accepted. This is not a coincidence. It is a program, and it runs deep. Across every corner of our modern environment, there are substances that mimic or block the body's natural hormones, and they are everywhere. Atrazine in the water, phthalates in the shampoo, flame retardants in the mattress, triclosan in the soap, BPA in baby bottles, microplastics in your food and blood. Every one of these compounds is an endocrine disruptor, a chemical that hijacks the communication system between your brain and your body. They don't just poison fertility, they confuse identity. They override biology, and they do it before you're even born. Pregnant mothers carry the burden of these toxins in their blood. Babies are born with over 200 industrial chemicals already circulating through their system. The gender map is distorted before the first breath is drawn. The brain, which develops differently in male and female babies, relies on hormonal signals to shape sexual identity and behavior. But what happens when those signals are scrambled? What happens is what we're seeing now. What happens is distortion. Children unsure of their own nature. Teenagers rejecting their bodies. A generation medicated into confusion and surgically altered to match a feeling, without ever asking where that feeling came from. Because it isn't just chemicals, it's conditioning. Cartoons that sexualize identity, children's books that blur biology, social media that rewards victimhood, schools that teach children their identity is something to choose from a drop-down menu. This is not liberation. This is dissociation, the severing of the self from the body. Not as a natural evolution, but as a programmed escape from the pain of environmental interference. And when a child experiences chronic dissonance, when their biology and brain chemistry don't match the cultural story, they look for a solution, and society hands them one: a flag, a label, a prescription, a surgery, a new identity. But what if the problem wasn't their gender? What if the real issue was never addressed? No one detoxed the chemicals. No one regulated the hormones. No one asked about the trauma. No one honored the soul. We are living in a time where environmental poisoning has become so normalized. We've actually mistaken the symptoms for identity. We've pathologized the confused child while ignoring the toxic soup they've been swimming in since conception. This isn't about denying anyone's experience. This is about looking deeper. The soil is contaminated. The body is inflamed. The culture is engineered. And the child is lost in the middle of it all, believing it's their fault. The truth is, they were never supposed to feel this way. They were never supposed to question their nature. They were never supposed to be at war with their own reflection. But they are, and they are suffering, and no one is telling them the truth, because the truth doesn't sell surgery. It doesn't sell pharmaceuticals. It doesn't create lifelong medical customers. The truth restores sovereignty, and that is dangerous to those in power. We are not just in a gender crisis. We are in a coherence crisis, a disconnection from the body, the earth, and our original design. If you want to heal this, you must begin with detoxing the lie, detoxing the chemicals, detoxing the conditioning, and finally, detoxing the belief that your body is broken. You are not meant to be confused. You are meant to be whole. But the environment has been weaponized, and that confusion was never yours to carry. We call it birth. But what if the way we're born today isn't really natural? What if it's engineered? There was a time when birth was a sacred portal, a biological, emotional, and spiritual threshold where soul and body became one. The baby, cradled in the mother's hormones, enters the world through waves of oxytocin, bonding, imprinting, and anchoring into the body with trust. But now, birth has become a battleground, induced, rushed, sliced, injected, separated, masked, sterilized. We don't call it trauma, we call it protocol. But at the level of the nervous system, the imprint is permanent. Synthetic pitocin replaces the natural rhythm of oxytocin. The baby is forced out under stress instead of flowing through the rhythm of love. This bypasses the first opportunity for healthy hormonal entrainment, for anchoring into the mother, the body, and the self. Then the bright lights hit. The cord is cut too soon. The baby is taken away to be wiped, weighed, measured, and vaccinated before the mother's skin is ever felt. That first sacred imprint of I am safe in my body is disrupted, and something else forms in its place. I am alone. I am exposed. I am not connected. Then the needle comes. In the first moments of life, a newborn receives multiple injections. Hepatitis B, vitamin K, sometimes laced with aluminum, sometimes with foreign DNA, always bypassing the body's natural filters. And with each injection, a sacred layer of sovereign coding is interrupted. The gut isn't developed. The immune system isn't calibrated. The energy field isn't sealed. And yet, the programming begins. This is not just medical. This is metaphysical dismemberment. When a soul enters a body, it expects resonance, alignment between the energetic blueprint and the biological design. But when the birth process is filled with synthetic chemicals, masked touch, aggressive separation, and cross-coded substances, that alignment begins to fracture. The nervous system stores that memory. It becomes a baseline for disconnection. The infant may not remember the details, but the body remembers the feeling. Something is off. I'm not safe here. This isn't me. That feeling becomes a lens through which everything else is filtered. Self-image, emotional regulation, gender identity, connection to others. When gender identity begins to distort later in life, we often look to social media, but we must look earlier, much earlier. We must ask, was the soul fully welcomed into the body, or was the connection severed before it had a chance to take root? When a baby is born and immediately programmed with foreign DNA, bathed in pharmaceutical chemicals, and denied the touch, warmth, and presence of the mother, it becomes harder for that soul to feel at home in its own skin. This is not a rejection of science. This is a reclamation of humanity. The sacred feminine, the womb, the hormones, the natural unfolding of life, has been colonized by policy. We've replaced the rhythm of nature with the rhythm of the pharmaceutical industry, and we're watching the consequences unfold in real time. Children dissociating, teens rejecting their bodies, adults who never felt safe in their skin and were never told why. Because when the body becomes the battleground, the soul retreats, and in that retreat, the search begins for identity, for safety, for a place to belong. But that place can never be found outside the body. It must be restored within. To heal gender confusion, we must go back to the very beginning, not to impose an identity, but to recover the moment when the natural identity was interrupted. We must return to birth, to the sacred bond between mother and child, to the biochemical love that imprints wholeness, to the natural rhythm that anchors the soul to the body. This is not just a medical crisis. It's a crisis of incarnation, a war on embodiment, because when a generation no longer feels at home in their body, they will look for new ones. They will seek to cut, inject, reassign, or transcend, anything to resolve the dissonance that began long before they had words. But the truth is, they were never broken. They were never born in the wrong body. They were born into the wrong system. And it's time to remember what real birth was always meant to be. No one wakes up one day and suddenly hates their body. The hatred builds silently from experiences they didn't choose, from pain they couldn't stop, and from a world that never taught them how to feel safe in their own skin. We've been taught to see gender dysphoria as a stand-alone condition, as if it appears out of nowhere, separate from the rest of the self. But in truth, gender dysphoria is often a symptom, not the cause. The real cause is something much deeper, something most people never talk about: trauma, the kind that splits the soul from the body, the kind that makes being inside your skin feel unbearable, the kind that whispers, maybe if I look different, I wouldn't hurt like this. Maybe if I change my body, the pain will stop. This is not delusion. This is dissociation. The nervous system can only handle so much. When a child is abused, neglected, shamed, over-sexualized, or emotionally abandoned, the body becomes the enemy. It becomes a container for a pain too great to name. And when that pain is never addressed, the child begins to look outward for an identity that makes sense of the inner chaos. Gender becomes a target, a label, a solution, a way to escape the prison of the self. And society, instead of guiding them inward, points them outward. Change your name, change your hormones, change your body. But no one asks, what happened before the dysphoria? What trauma went unspoken? What memories were buried? What messages were absorbed about being a boy or being a girl that made the child want to be anything else? We are treating pain with a scalpel. We are answering emotional wounds with surgeries. We are silencing the cries of trauma by changing the exterior, while the interior continues to fragment. This is not healing. This is spiritual bypassing with a medical mask. When someone says, I feel like I was born in the wrong body, they are telling the truth, but not the full truth. They feel wrong because their experiences were wrong, because what they endured didn't align with their innocence, their worth, their biology, because they were never taught to see their body as a sanctuary, only as a site of pain, shame, or silence. And in a culture that rewards dysregulation with attention, that monetizes permanent solutions to temporary crises and that punishes any voice asking deeper questions, the real healing is lost. We are not seeing a wave of gender liberation. We are seeing a generation of trauma survivors being offered new names instead of new nervous systems, new surgeries instead of emotional repair, new hormones instead of grief integration. The body is not the enemy, it's the memory keeper. It holds the scars when the mind can't. It stores the dissonance, hoping one day someone will notice. And instead of honoring it, we cut it, we drug it, we sterilize it. We call that care. We call that progress. We call that freedom. But it's not freedom to mutilate a body that's just trying to speak. And it's not compassion to affirm a survival response as identity. It's not love to tell a child, you were born broken, let's fix you. True love says, you were hurt, let's heal you. You were confused, let's ground you. You were fragmented, let's bring you home. Because when we heal the trauma, the identity crisis often dissolves. When the nervous system feels safe, the soul stops running. When the body is no longer a battlefield, gender becomes secondary to wholeness. We must stop offering permanent solutions to emotional wounds that were never even witnessed. We must stop profiting from the pain of children who needed connection, not correction. And we must stop calling trauma trans just because it's easier than sitting with the discomfort of the truth. This is not about denying anyone's right to exist. This is about reclaiming the right to ask why so many are desperate to be someone else. Because you were never meant to escape your body. You were meant to come home to it, and that return is the most sacred transition of all. What happens when a species loses its polarity? When the essence of man and woman is no longer honored, but chemically erased, mocked, redefined, and sterilized, you get exactly what we see today, a collapsing civilization fueled by confusion and stripped of its primal power. This was never just about gender. This has always been about control. Because when men no longer embody protection, presence, or direction, and women no longer carry intuition, creation, or nurturing, the entire human design begins to unravel. This unraveling did not begin with politics. It began with chemistry. Masculinity has been under assault for decades, not just in culture, but in blood. Testosterone levels in men have dropped over 50% since the 1970s. Sperm counts are plummeting. Erectile dysfunction is now common in men under 30. Fertility is fading, and it's not just from stress or diet. It's from chemical castration, phthalates, atrazine, BPA, glyphosate. These are just some of the culprits. Pesticides, plastics, preservatives, substances proven to disrupt androgen receptors, lower testosterone, feminize males in utero, and mutate sperm at the DNA level. Men are being weakened from the inside out. And it starts before birth. When a male fetus is exposed to xenoestrogens in the womb, his endocrine system receives mixed signals. His hormonal imprint is confused. His testes may not descend properly. His neural wiring may shift. He may not know why he feels lost in his own identity. He just knows that he doesn't feel anchored. That disconnection follows him into manhood, where he's told that masculinity is toxic, that aggression is wrong, that leadership is oppressive, and that protection is outdated. And so he withdraws, he shrinks, he disappears into addiction, passivity, or numbness. While society celebrates his disappearance, this isn't accidental, this is engineered collapse, because when the protector is removed, the vulnerable are left exposed, and the next to be attacked is the feminine. The sacred feminine, the intuitive, wise, life-bringing force, has also been targeted. Women have been pumped with synthetic estrogens from childhood, injected with hormonal birth control before their cycles even regulate, told that fertility is a burden, that menstruation is shameful, that motherhood is weakness. So they too disconnect from their wombs, from their wisdom, from their cyclical power. The rise in polycystic ovary syndrome, endometriosis, ovarian failure, and infertility is not a coincidence. It's the result of a culture that medicates away the feminine while worshiping productivity, linearity, and masculine energy in disguise. Women are trained to override their body's rhythms, to silence their intuition, to compete instead of connect, to harden instead of soften. And when both masculine and feminine become distorted, what's left is a generation unsure of who they are, longing for polarity, but swimming in sameness. The polarity that once magnetized life is being flattened, neutralized, erased. We call this progress. But it's sterilization disguised as liberation. We celebrate the blending of identities while ignoring the fact that men can no longer reproduce and women can no longer carry life. We glorify androgyny while quietly becoming infertile, passive, and programmable. This isn't evolution. This is eugenics with a modern marketing team. The war on the masculine is a war on direction, protection, and clarity. The war on the feminine is a war on intuition, creation, and emotional truth. Together, these wars sever the very blueprint of human coherence, because polarity is not oppression. It is the dance of life. It is the fusion of difference into creation. And when you erase that difference, you erase creation itself. The ultimate goal? Dependence on external hormones, on lab-grown fertility, on digital identity, on synthetic life. But you are not synthetic. You are not designed to be neutered for comfort or erased for inclusivity. You are polarity incarnate, sacred balance in motion. Man and woman are not outdated archetypes. They are primal forces meant to awaken each other, protect each other, and bring forth life. We were never meant to flatten gender. We were meant to honor the fire in both. So if you felt weak, disconnected, numb, or unsure of your place, you are not broken. You are the product of a war on your essence, but you can take it back through detox, through remembrance, through reconnection with your inner truth. Because real masculinity is not dominance, and real femininity is not submission. They are sacred energies designed to dance, not compete. It's time to reclaim them before they're replaced for good. This is not just a culture war. It's a biochemical conquest. a spiritual sterilization, a genetic quieting of creation itself. But you were born to restore the code. What if the greatest lie ever told to our children was that they could become someone else? That truth could be traded for identity, that biology could be bent to match a feeling, that the discomfort of being human could be solved with a scalpel. This is the new religion, not of science, but of medical genderism. A belief system built not on biology, but on branding, where feelings are diagnoses, where puberty is a disease, where the sacred human form is pathologized into a lifelong customer. Let's call it what it is, a business model, because a child on puberty, blockers at 12, is not a patient. They're a revenue stream. That same child will need synthetic hormones for life. Testosterone or estrogen, manufactured monthly, forever. Surgeries to remove what was once healthy. More surgeries to correct what was never broken. Antidepressants to manage the regret. Pain meds for the scar tissue. Anti-anxiety pills to silence the soul's scream. This isn't healthcare. This is human conversion therapy for profit. And it's not small. The global gender-affirming market is projected to reach billions in just a few years. Hospitals have built entire departments around it. Private equity firms are investing. Surgeons are booked months in advance. And the fastest growing demographic? Children. Children who haven't finished puberty, children who can't legally drive, vote, or consent to sex, but are allowed to chemically sterilize themselves in the name of identity. This isn't about freedom. This is about pipeline creation. Because if you can convince a child to hate their body, you can sell them a new one. And if that body is never truly theirs, they will keep coming back, seeking wholeness from the very system that fractured them. But how do you convince a generation to amputate healthy organs? You start early. You plant the seeds in kindergarten. You give them new pronouns and rainbow flags instead of safety and stability. You tell them discomfort is dysphoria, and the solution is to change the body, not examine the root. You block puberty like it's cancer, and tell them they'll feel better if they transition. But no one tells them that the blockers cause bone loss, brain fog, infertility, and emotional numbing. No one tells them that testosterone in high doses causes vaginal atrophy and aggression. No one tells them that estrogen can create blood clots, breast cancer, and mood instability. No one tells them that many who transition regret it. And those who do regret it, those who speak out, are shamed, silenced, deplatformed, and erased, because truth is a threat to the business. The system doesn't want healing. It wants management. It wants dependence. It wants lifetime subscribers. This is not progress. This is pathology industrialized. A person confused by chemicals, traumatized by abandonment, disconnected from their body, is the perfect target for this machine. Because instead of asking, why do I feel this way? They are told, let us fix you. But they're not being fixed. They're being altered, branded, medicalized, sterilized, all under the guise of care. But true care does not mutilate the body to soothe the soul. True care asks deeper questions. True care honors the pain and seeks to heal it, not hide it behind injections and incisions. Gender dysphoria is real. It is not always about being trans. It is often a cry for help, a trauma response, a nervous system defense, a child saying, "I don't feel safe in who I am." And the answer to that is not chemical castration, not double mastectomies, not lifelong hormone dependency. The answer is safety, stability, healing, truth. Because when the soul is held with love, the body becomes a home again. But in a world where identity is monetized, authentic healing is a threat. We are witnessing the rise of a medical industrial identity crisis, where big pharma meets big tech meets big trauma, where confusion is manufactured and affirmation is a sales funnel. But you can't amputate your way to wholeness. You can't inject your way to identity. You can't market your way out of trauma. And one day, when the drugs wear off, when the scars remain, when the soul still cries out, they'll remember that what they needed was not a new body, but a return to the original one, before the world convinced them it was wrong. Once upon a time, the mirror was sacred. It was a place where you met yourself, where you explored who you were becoming, slowly, privately, honestly. But now the mirror has changed. It scrolls, it filters, it watches back. Today's mirror is digital, and it does not reflect the soul. And that algorithm, it has a mission to profit from your discontent. Social media doesn't just show you who you are, it tells you who you should be. Every swipe, every like, every follow shapes the identity of a generation raised by screens instead of parents, by influencers instead of mentors. And at the center of it all is confusion, manufactured, rewarded, monetized. So we are now seeing an unprecedented spike in what psychologists call rapid onset gender dysphoria. It's a condition where teens with no previous signs of distress suddenly identify as transgender or non-binary. And this often happens after they've been binging social media content. They're not forming identity organically, they're downloading it from TikTok influencers who are selling identity as an aesthetic, from YouTube creators who romanticize transition as transformation, and from Discord communities where pain is celebrated and dissociation is somehow trendworthy. It's not exploration, it's indoctrination, and the vulnerable are the most targeted. Kids with trauma, kids on the autism spectrum, kids with ADHD, anxiety, abandonment, wounds. These are the ones looking for meaning. They're searching for safety. They're just looking for somewhere to belong. And the algorithm opens its arms and says, "Come here. We'll give you a label. Not healing, not grounding, just a label. And with that label comes a script. Your body is wrong. Your parents are your oppressors. Your true family is online. Anyone who questions you is abusive. And surgery will set you free." This isn't identity. This is weaponized suggestion. This is mass hypnosis with a gendered face. The brain is still forming until age 25. And yet, we are flooding young minds with images and ideas that disrupt the natural unfolding of selfhood before they've even experienced their first heartbreak. The mirror keeps telling them, change more, be different, become someone new, and they do, until they forget who they were before the screen told them who to be. The rise in identity confusion is not a natural phenomenon. It's engineered amplification of already existing trauma, fueled by tech addiction and psychological manipulation. Every click trains the brain to seek dopamine through performance, to seek love through distortion, to seek truth through the lens of strangers. And in that search, the self dissolves. This is not connection. This is fragmentation. And when a child finally turns to their parents and says, "I'm trans, I'm non-binary, I'm changing my name," they're not always speaking from deep inner knowing. They're speaking from conditioning. Conditioning that was packaged, promoted, and sold by billion-dollar platforms that never asked, "Is this child hurting?" Only, can we keep them engaged? We don't blame the child. We blame the digital mirror that rewards dysphoria with attention, dissociation with praise, and medical transition with endless likes. The brain begins to associate visibility with identity. Pain becomes a badge. Confusion becomes a virtue. Authenticity becomes a threat, because what's real doesn't sell. But what's trending does. This isn't just bad influence. This is psychological warfare. An entire generation is being taught to flee from their own reflection, to curate instead of embody, to dismember instead of remember. But the truth is, you cannot swipe your way to self. You cannot filter your way into wholeness. You cannot hashtag your way to healing. We are losing children to digital identities crafted by corporations that do not care if they live, only if they engage. But real identity is not formed in a forum. It's forged through presence, through silence, through felt experience, through embodiment. And if we want to save the next generation from being devoured by the algorithm, we must help them put the phone down and return to the body, to breathe, to feel, to reconnect with their organic truth, not the version edited for views. Because the digital mirror will never reflect wholeness. It will only reflect what it's programmed to sell. And in the war on biological truth, the screen is the new battlefield, but the soul still remembers. They told us affirmation was love, that to affirm someone's identity was the highest form of compassion, that saying yes to the story someone tells about themselves, no matter how fragile, fractured, or formed in pain, was noble, was right, was safe. But what if affirmation isn't healing? What if affirmation, in its current form, is a loaded weapon aimed not at the pain, but at the person trying to escape it? What if we've confused love with compliance? What if the word affirmation has been hijacked by an industry that profits when we never ask, why do you feel this way? Because the truth is, real healing starts with curiosity, not validation, with compassion that asks, not agrees, with love that dares to say, I believe your pain, but let's find its source. But we don't do that anymore, because in this culture of fragile truths and manufactured identities, asking questions is abuse, skepticism is hate, pause is violence. And so we affirm confusion, we affirm trauma responses, we affirm survival mechanisms formed in the fog of unprocessed pain, We affirm projections, illusions, and ideas planted by culture and chemicals without ever wondering if they're coming from the self or from somewhere else. This is not compassion. This is neglect. Imagine a girl sexually abused by a male relative. She begins to bind her chest. She says she hates being a girl. She wants to be seen as a boy, not because she is one, but because she no longer feels safe in her femininity. Now imagine the therapist doesn't ask about the abuse, doesn't ask about her body memories, doesn't help her process the trauma. Instead, they say, "You're valid. Here's a new name. Here's a path to surgery." This is not care. This is abandonment, dressed up in progressive language. When we affirm without understanding, we bypass the opportunity for wholeness. We trade deep healing for surface approval. We exchange a lifelong integration journey for an irreversible shortcut. And often, the child, the teen, the young adult goes along with it because they're desperate, not for a new identity, but for someone to finally see them. But instead of seeing them, we affirm their mask. Affirmation has become a tool of erasure of the deeper self, of the wounded inner child, of the original signal trying to emerge beneath the pain. We are affirming people into chemical dependency, into infertility, into mutilation, and into dissociation. And then we celebrate it. We tell them they're brave, that they've become their true self, that their body is finally right. And when it still doesn't feel right, when the numbness doesn't lift, when the regret begins to stir, they are told to silence that too, because anything other than affirmation is betrayal. So they hide the grief, they medicate the rage, they swallow the truth that maybe, just maybe, they were affirmed into the biggest mistake of their life. Affirmation is supposed to be a bridge, but today it's a trapdoor, a way to fast-track a confused soul into a system that never had any intention of helping them understand who they truly are, only who they could become with the right drugs, the right surgeon, the right narrative. But love doesn't affirm a fire that's burning a house down. Love walks into the fire and carries you out. Love sees beneath the story. Love challenges the mask. Love says, "I will not let you destroy yourself just to be seen." That's not rejection, that's protection. We must reclaim the word affirmation from those who've used it to enable disembodiment and permanent harm. Affirmation should not mean saying yes to anything and everything. It should mean, "I see your pain. I will not shame it, but I will not build your future on top of it either." We are not here to validate illusions. We are here to restore truth, to reground the soul, to reunite body and being, because real affirmation doesn't say, "Yes, you are broken and must become someone else." Real affirmation says, "You are whole beneath the confusion." Let's find the parts of you that got lost. Let's stop affirming the mask and start loving the human underneath. There was a time when medicine meant healing, when doctors swore an oath to do no harm, when the future of a child was something to protect, not permanently sever. But now, a darker story is unfolding, a story told through hushed regrets, missing wombs, and the silence of reproductive systems that will never bring forth life. They call it gender-affirming care, but what they don't tell you, what they never lead with, is that it often ends in sterilization, puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, double mastectomies, hysterectomies, or chiectomies. These are not benign medical steps. They are permanent interventions with one unspoken consequence: no children, ever. No one tells the 12-year-old on Lupron that halting puberty can arrest bone density, shrink brain matter, and shut down reproductive capacity before it even begins. No one tells the teenage girl that testosterone may atrophy her uterus, collapse her ovaries, and leave her unable to carry life. No one tells the boy on estrogen that the chemical castration of his testes may not be reversible, and that the sperm he might one day wish to offer a future partner will never exist. They say it's about freedom, but what kind of freedom ends with a child whose body has been altered so deeply that the choice to create life is gone before they understand what life even is? This isn't empowerment. This is eradication of future lineage, by design or by negligence. Because the truth is, every person who transitions medically becomes a lifelong pharmaceutical customer. But even more than that, they become biologically irrelevant to future generations. They are cut off from the most primal human capacity to reproduce, to carry forward a bloodline, to participate in the sacred act of creation. And yet, this outcome is rarely discussed. It's buried under language like gender affirmation, euphoria, liberation. But liberation without fertility is not freedom. It is extinction by stealth. This is not a conspiracy. This is a reality hiding in plain sight. Throughout history, governments and medical institutions have used sterilization as a form of control. From eugenics programs to population control strategies, the removal of reproductive ability has always served power, not people, and now it's cloaked in rainbows, marketed to children, framed as progress. But look closer and you'll see the most common result of transition is that the body can no longer create life. So we must ask, why aren't we talking about this? Why isn't every child, teen, or adult seeking transition given full disclosure about the impact on fertility? Why isn't it the very first thing we discuss? Why do we treat a womb like a wound and testicles like ticking time bombs? Because if the body's power to reproduce is removed, its power to self-determine is also gone. And if generations no longer procreate naturally, then artificial reproduction becomes the norm. Egg extraction, surrogacy, lab-grown embryos, gene editing, patents on life itself. This is not just about individual autonomy. It's about who controls the future of reproduction. And when a child is transitioned, before they understand the finality of what's being done, when they wake up at 25, 30, 35, and realize they will never conceive or carry life, They are not empowered. They are devastated. They are sterilized, not by accident, but through protocol. And the system just shrugs, says it was their choice. But what child can make that choice when they haven't been told the full truth? This is not gender care. This is biological disinheritance, a quiet genocide of potential families, a surgical erasure of future generations, a pharmaceutical straitjacket wrapped in glitter, and it must stop. Because when we sterilize the body, we silence something ancient, something sacred, something that transcends identity and returns us to what it means to be human, to pass on life, to choose when and how to bring it forth, to be sovereign in our fertility. That is power, and power is what this agenda fears most. So they cut it out, block it, drug it, silence it, and call it care. But now, we are waking up. We are remembering what was taken. We are mourning the wombs and seeds lost to this war, and we are reclaiming the right to protect the next generation from being sterilized for identity they have yet to grow into. Because if we lose the ability to create life, we lose everything, and that is the end game they don't want you to see. There is a grief we do not speak. It's a quiet ache that lives below the surface of every label, beneath every procedure, beneath every desperate attempt to rewrite the body. It is the grief of spiritual dislocation, the pain of being unanchored, of living in a body but not feeling at home in it. This is the layer no one talks about, the realm beyond biology, beyond politics, where the true wound lives. It is not an accident that gender dysphoria has risen as spiritual grounding has declined, that we've lost connection to nature, to ceremony, to ancestors, to stillness. We have replaced sacred rites of passage with digital avatars. We have replaced soul work with identity work. We have turned transformation into transaction. But the soul cannot be bought, and it cannot be changed with a needle. It only returns through presence, through reverence, through deep listening. When we say, "I don't feel like myself," what we are often saying is, "I don't feel my soul." And when we tell young people that their soul chose wrong, that their body is a mistake, we are feeding a lie that fractures them even more. The truth is, there is no wrong body. There is only unprocessed pain. There is only disconnection. And there is only one true path to wholeness: reunion with the self. That reunion does not begin in surgery. It begins in silence, in the still, aching places where the soul waits for us to come home. So we must stop medicating the mystical, stop affirming the fracture, stop cutting away the cry, because gender confusion at its core is not a call for a new body. It is a call for return to self, to truth, to embodiment, to soul. For too long, healing has been misunderstood, twisted, sold, packaged in pills, injections, and surgeries that promise relief but deliver disconnection. We've been told that healing means changing the body, that to feel whole, we must become someone else. That if we don't like what we see, we should cut, reshape, inject, rename. And for a moment, it works. For a moment, the outside matches the inner storm. For a moment, the pain softens, but soon, the ache returns. Because true healing has never been about changing the external. It has always been about returning to the internal, to the original blueprint, the one that knew who you were long before the world confused you. Real healing doesn't say, you were born wrong. It says, you were born sacred, and something made you forget that something might have been trauma, or environmental toxins, or early abandonment, or disembodiment from digital overload, or generational pain passed down in silence. But none of it means your body is the problem. We must redefine healing, because healing is not mutilation, it's integration. Healing is not about erasing what you are. It's about remembering who you are. The real journey doesn't begin in the surgeon's office. It begins in the nervous system, in the gut, in the limbic brain, in the energetic blueprint that has been screaming, come back, come home, I'm still here. To heal, we must stop running from discomfort and start listening to it. Because discomfort is not a disease, it's a message. It's the soul knocking on the door of the body saying, something is out of alignment, let's fix it together. Reassignment says, delete the original. Reconnection says, restore what was lost. Reassignment severs. Reconnection integrates. Reassignment medicates the pain. Reconnection honors it, unpacks it, and transforms it. Reassignment says, this version of you isn't enough. Reconnection says, you are more than you ever knew, because you are not a mistake. You are not a misfire of biology. You are not a mismatched soul. You are a whole being, interrupted, a brilliant light, distorted by interference. But interference can be cleared through detox, through stillness, through emotional release, through somatic healing, through spiritual remembrance, through real support, not forced affirmation, but grounded presence. You don't need to become someone else. You need to become fully yourself. And that self is not hidden in a label. It's hidden beneath the layers you were taught to wear to survive in a world that didn't know how to love you. But now you can take those layers off, not because you were wrong, but because you're ready to come back. Ready to come back to your breath, your body, your sacred sex, your organic rhythm, your light. Because your healing was never about becoming something new. It was about remembering what's eternal, what's untouchable, what's already yours. That is real healing. And when enough of us return to that truth, the war on biological truth ends, not in courtrooms, not in protests, but in our own flesh, with every person who chooses reconnection over reassignment, integrity over illusion, and wholeness over fragmentation. That's how we win. We don't just protect the next generation. We show them how to stay whole in a world that profits from their fracture. We become the mirrors of coherence they never had, the examples of what it looks like to reclaim the self without cutting it apart. This is the new path forward, not transhumanism, not self-erasure, but radical remembrance. You were never meant to be reassigned. You were meant to reunite, and that reunion is the revolution. They are watching every word, every glance, every silence. They are absorbing the world through their skin long before they have words to explain it. And in a world built on distortion, confusion becomes their default. That's why this battle isn't just biological, it's generational. Because the next wave of children is being raised in a frequency of noise, fragmentation, and misalignment. And if we don't step in now, they won't just lose their bodies, they'll lose their very sense of self. It begins earlier than we think. Before they can speak, they're being bombarded with plastics, hormones, and radiation. Before they can walk, they're handed screens that train their brain to seek disconnection. Before they can trust their own bodies, they're taught their feelings must be filtered through identity politics. They are not being guided, they are being programmed. So how do we protect them? We become the anchors. We anchor them in truth when the culture sells confusion. We anchor them in presence when the world offers performance. We anchor them in coherence, body, mind, and soul, before someone else convinces them to split apart. Children don't need more labels. They need more eye contact, more grounding, and more time in nature. They need more trust in their body's wisdom. They need adults who model embodiment instead of disembodiment. Because children don't develop identity by being told who they are. They develop it by watching who we are. So, if we're anxious, fragmented, ungrounded, they absorb that as their baseline. But if we are coherent in our nervous system, in our values, in our own embodiment, they begin to attune to wholeness. They begin to trust their biology. They begin to feel safe in their own skin, and they stop looking outside themselves for validation. And they start listening to the quiet truth inside them that says, I am enough. The world won't tell them that. The world will say, maybe you're actually a boy. Maybe you need these pills. Maybe you're special if you reject your body. We must be the voice that says, you are special because you are you, just as you are. Your body is sacred. Your emotions are signals, not flaws. Your identity is not a costume. It's a current unfolding. We must reclaim the sacred art of parenting, mentoring, and guiding, not by force, but through embodied leadership. That means healing our own disconnection, doing our own nervous system repair, unlearning our own generational programming, because you can't anchor a child in truth if you're still spinning in your own distortion. Children are not problems to solve. They are mirrors. And every time one becomes confused, dissociated, or dysphoric, we must ask, what reflection did they inherit? If we want to protect them, we must first protect the field they grow in. No more chemicals in their food. No more screens raising their nervous system. No more school curriculums that plant confusion before self-trust. No more therapists affirming disconnection as identity. No more doctors prescribing sterility as care. Give them dirt under their fingernails, songs that honor the body, stillness that lets them hear their intuition, rituals that root them into who they are, stories that remind them they are whole, because prevention is not just physical. It is energetic alignment. It is co-regulation. It is choosing to become the adult we needed when we were that lost child. The world will continue its war on truth, but our children don't have to be its casualties. We can stop the pattern. We can be the line in the sand. We can raise a generation that never has to reclaim themselves because they were never convinced to forget. Let this be the beginning of families anchored in sovereignty, of communities that don't medicalize childhood, of mentors who don't mirror confusion but coherence. Because the future doesn't begin with laws or systems. It begins with how we protect the next heartbeat, the next breath, the next child before the war ever reaches them. You've heard the war cries. You've seen the casualties, souls severed from their bodies, children sterilized in the name of care, truth buried beneath corporate slogans, and coherence replaced with confusion. This war has never been about identity. It has always been about separation. Separation from biology, from spirit, from meaning, from each other, from self. But the war only works because we forgot that wholeness was our birthright. You were never meant to question your original design. You were meant to embody it fully, boldly, sacredly. The system profits from your fragmentation. It grows stronger each time you seek yourself in a prescription, a new pronoun, a new face, a new escape. But the way out of the war is not through reaction, it's through repatterning, because fragmentation is the default setting of this matrix. Wholeness is the rebellion, and coherence is the cure. So how do we rewrite the code? We begin at the level where the distortion started, in the body, in the breath, in the nervous system, in the blueprint. We cleanse, we repair, we remember, not just physically, though detoxing from endocrine disruptors, synthetic hormones, and neurological poisons is essential, but emotionally, energetically, spiritually, we clear the trauma that told us we had to change to be safe. We unravel the shame that made us think our bodies were wrong. We discharge the dissonance. We rebuild the relationship between body and soul. This is not a battle to win. It's a frequency to restore. And frequency doesn't respond to fear. It responds to alignment. That's how we end the war. Not with louder arguments and not with policy debates, but by becoming so coherent in our design, so rooted in our truth, and so embodied in our being that the system just can no longer fracture us. We stop feeding the algorithm of identity addiction. We stop outsourcing our sense of self to doctors, influencers, and ideologies, and we stop allowing the body to be the battleground for unhealed pain. and we start remembering that the code was always inside us. It was only distorted, never destroyed. You want to be whole? Then stop trying to become something else. Start returning to who you were before they programmed you to forget. Just feel your breath, move your body, listen to the truth under the noise. Touch the divine blueprint pulsing under the scar tissue. It's still there, it never left. And the more of us who return, the more this system collapses. Because the war on biological truth only survives if we agree to stay at war with ourselves. But the moment we choose coherence, internally, relationally, generationally, we flip the script. We dissolve the need for reassignment because we're finally reconnected. We dissolve the grip of confusion because we no longer fear who we are. We dissolve the agenda because we've reclaimed our architecture. This is what they fear, not outrage, but integration. Because an integrated human cannot be manipulated. A sovereign soul cannot be sold false solutions. And a coherent society cannot be conquered by fragmentation. You are not a label, not a diagnosis, not a product of trauma, not a chemical experiment. You are a living frequency, a sacred intelligence, a design worth remembering. The war is over the moment you say, I choose to be whole. This is where it ends and where it begins. We have walked through the deception. We have seen the cost of forgetting, the stolen bodies, the medicated minds, the erased wombs, the fragmented spirits. But deeper than the loss is the memory of a time before distortion, before gender was confused, before fertility was weaponized, before the soul was severed from its design. That memory lives in your cells. It echoes in your bones. It pulses beneath the scar tissue. This is the call to return, to remember, to restore, not to the past, but to the origin code, the original architecture of humanity, sacred, coherent, sovereign, alive. That code was never binary. It was polar, masculine, and feminine in divine complement. It was never rigid. It was rhythmic, flowing through cycles, sensations, and soul agreements. It was never hateful. It was holy, and it has been buried under layers of trauma, toxins, technologies, and ideologies that sought to override it. But it cannot be deleted. It can only be restored. That restoration begins with one sacred choice: to stop outsourcing who you are, to stop looking for yourself in screens, surgeries, or systems, to stop believing that your body is the enemy, and to stop fearing what makes you fertile, powerful, or deeply human. You are not meant to be redesigned. You are meant to be reunited with your divine pattern, and that pattern includes your chromosomes, your hormones, your emotional currents, your biological rhythm, and your spiritual identity encoded into your very bloodline. You are not a glitch in the code. You are the original signal, interfered with, but never lost. And if we are to survive this war, not just as individuals, but as a species, we must return to that signal. We must detox the physical body and deprogram the mind. We must reclaim the sacred rites of conception, of birth, of initiation, of sexual sovereignty. We must raise our children in rhythm with nature, not in submission to culture. We must rebuild our relationships on polarity, not competition, on honoring the masculine and the feminine, not erasing them, not blending them into sameness, but letting them dance again. Because from that dance, life is born. That is the real revolution. Not rebellion through self-erasure, but remembrance through self-embodiment. So, here we are, contemplating not rage against biology, but rather a reverence for its wisdom. It's not a war on the body, but a reunion with it. The war on biological truth ends when we stop fighting nature and start embodying it. When we see our gender not as a costume, but as a channel for purpose, creation, and spiritual power. When we protect our children not from discomfort, but from deception. When we stop assigning our identity to systems and start living from soul-encoded memory. This is not the end of the story. This is the beginning of the Restoration Age, where we no longer seek to rewrite the code. We simply let it speak, and in that listening, in that returning, in that deep, sacred yes to who and what we already are, we heal, we rise, we remember. This is the return to origin. This is the end of the war. This is the restoration of humanity.